Hello and welcome back to Parc Fermé Parlay with Kieran Downey. It's race week. It's race week. We've made it. The summer break is over. The Dutch Grand Prix is this weekend. We're heading to Zandvoort. Oh, I can't wait to watch 20 millionaires drive around in funny circles again. I feel like I've got my entire personality back. Although it didn't actually feel that long, to be fair. It's gone pretty quickly. Thank God for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, because I have been busy with that and it's taken my mind off the fact that there has been no racing in 3 or 4 weeks. But it has been an incredibly quiet summer break. There's not been a peep coming out of the sport, and I just feel like there's going to be something this week that's going to come out and it's huge. Like, I think we're going to get some big news. I don't know what, but it's currently Monday, and I just feel like Thursday, when we get to media day at Zandvoort, there might be something. Who knows? But with it being race week once again, another day, another predictions. Feel like it was literally yesterday I recorded bold predictions for the rest of the year, and I actually did that at the beginning of the summer. But we've already done our bold predictions. This is Zandvoort. Let's get into it. Pole position for the Dutch Grand Prix. Oscar Piastri. I have kind of swithered between the two McLarens a lot when I was making these predictions, and it seems to actually have been a running theme this year of not knowing which McLaren to put for the likes of pole or probably a race win, because it could actually be either of them. The reason I've gone for Oscar is I think his qualies have been brilliant this year. He's really turned around his qualifyings this year. You know, last year it was he's got the racecraft, but he's not really managing his tyres that well, and his one lap quali pace isn't really there. Now, coming into this year, he's blistering on a one lap pace, and the other stuff he's kind of worked out as well, which we'll come on to in a second. But I don't see there being anything really holding Oscar back from going and getting pole position. I think it'll be very tight between Oscar and most likely Lando. In saying that, it is supposed to rain this weekend, I believe, so that could bring in to play other drivers like Max, who we know is very good in wet weather conditions. But is the outright pace of that Red Bull? I mean, he did do it in Suzuka. No, I'm going with Oscar. I'm sticking with Oscar. I think it should be an easy pole position for him. I do think it'll be close. Sorry about the sirens. This is what happens when you live in the middle of a city and you have to record with your windows open because it's so warm outside. I see it being quite an easy pole position for Oscar. As I said, I do think it'll be very close, but I do think Oscar Piastri will be able to cinch pole position. For P3 in the race, Max Verstappen. I think Max is going to have a pretty decent weekend. I think it's another podium. I don't think it's any higher than a P3. I think the drivers I've put in front of him, not that there's no way he'll catch them, because we know he's an incredibly talented driver. I just don't think he'll be able to get past the drivers I put in P1, P2. I think whether it's, lovely and shiny, nice sunny day, whether it's raining, whether it's thunderstorms, whatever the weather conditions are, I do think that Max will run fairly well around here. It's also his home race. That's a huge booster for him, and I do think that he'll put on a bit of a show, and I'm thinking P3. For P2 in the race, I've gone Lando Norris. Now, P2, P1 could be very interchangeable. I think McLaren are going to be absolutely mighty around this track. Norris obviously is off the back of a crushing victory here last year and has had some spectacular drives this year. It was only the last race weekend that he went and got the win in Hungary that we didn't really expect him to. So I do think he's in with a very good shot. He could go and win it, but I'm putting P2. I think that who I've put in P1, and for P1, Oscar Piastri, I think you all knew that was coming. I think Oscar will just have a bit of an edge over Lando coming into this session. I think he will have, as I said, a amazing qualifying. He is rapid around these types of tracks this year, so I think that he will very easily be able to go and take the win for the Dutch Grand Prix. As I said, the McLarens could be interchangeable there. It could be either one of them. I just obviously have to pick one, and I'm going with Oscar for the win. I think that feels like the right option to me. Now, for a few other predictions, I think this will be one of those races that Aston Martin really struggle at. This is a track that I think that they will experience some issues, not in terms of like reliability, but I think they'll just struggle with the car. This is a track that the Aston Martin doesn't really suit. If you look at the last two races on the calendar, Belgium and Hungary, Aston Martin ran quite poorly at Spa, but then had a pretty decent weekend at Hungary, Zandvoort, I would say, is closer in characteristics to Spa than it is Hungary. So I do think that Aston Martin are going to slightly struggle around this track due to the characteristics and their car maybe not suiting the track 100%. That being said, it is supposed to rain this weekend. Let us pull up the weather report. I've seen mixed reports of people saying it's going to be raining, it's going to be sunny, and I thought I better just check. Oh, it's going to be thunderstorms on the Friday from 6 o'clock right the way through until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. So that I don't think will affect any running on the Friday, but it is supposed to rain from around about 3 p.m. So there's definitely going to be some weather affected sessions on the Friday. Saturday, it's to rain the entire day. So that's a weather effect, that's a wet quali. That could give us a really spicy grid. And then on Sunday, it's supposed to rain up until lunchtime, and then it's, chances of showers throughout the day. So we could get a little changeable conditions on the go. A little dive onto the inters, back onto the slicks. That could mix things up. So maybe they might have an all right weekend if it does rain, because what we do know is that Aston Martin have two very good drivers in wet conditions. Lance and Fernando are both very good in wet conditions. So that could mix things up, but I'm still going that I don't think they're going to have a great weekend. For my next prediction, Yuki Tsunoda potentially in the points. I'm saying potentially because I don't fully believe it. However, he has been showing a very, very slight sign of improvement over the past few weekends. Wait, how did you do in Hungary? I actually think he had a really bad time in Hungary, did he not? Okay, he finished P17, but where did he qualify? P16, okay. I think he did all right in Spa. Granted, I know the race was terrible because they kind of screwed him over. He qualified P7 in Spa. I'm taking that as a sign of improvement. So maybe some points. I just would like him to score something. It would be his first point since Imola. The man has not scored points since Imola. That's how bad things are going. I understand that the Red Bull's very tricky, and this might not be the track to say it on, but fingers crossed he scores something. Something. For my final prediction, not all 20 drivers will finish the race. Listen, Zandvoort is either filled with action and is a little bit chaotic, or it is a single file procession from lights out to checkered flag. And I don't think that's going to be the case this time round. I think we're in for a bit of spice, a bit chaos, shall we say. 1. Zandvoort invites the dive bomb. It invites drivers just to send up the inside. And do you know what happens sometimes when they do that? Contact, right? Contact. Don't see it happening. Drivers leaping forward from quite far back. We've all seen it happen before. 2, the weather's going to play a part. A little slippery track, we sliding off into the barriers. I can see it. I can see it. I can see not all 20 drivers finishing this race. And I think we're in for one of those sprinkle a little spice on that chaos races this weekend. That being said, as much as we all love a bit of spice, but chaos, the FIA do tend to play things rather safe, which is well within their right. However, sometimes they do take it a bit far. And I do imagine that if we have any type of wet weather, I can see there being something like Spa happening where we get a delay to the race. Touch wood. I mean, I'd rather we just let them go out on the inters or call me crazy. Maybe the wets. But they are the most useless thing in Formula One, so maybe just the inters. The amount of times you've heard Martin Brundle say these cars are big hoovers, and what better way to clear standing water than a Formula One car driving round it. So hopefully we don't get a delayed race or a delay to any of the sessions. But I can see a delay coming to some of the sessions throughout the weekend, most likely. But that is everything from us. We will see you very, very soon. Let us know your predictions in the comment box down below. Enjoy the rest of your day. I love you. Bye.